láyé olúgbọ́n mo ké borùn méje ẹ ò máa kọ yí lórin láyé àrẹ̀sà mo ké borùn mẹ́fà ẹ ò máa kọ yí lórin láyé ìsẹ̀yìn èmi ra kókò mo ra rán mo ra sányán bàbá sọ àfọ̀lẹ́ ló lè pélé.
Hello everyone, my name is Adeyemo Adegbemiga Ganiu and I welcome you to my new Yoruba Abrahamic YouTube video. Today I want to talk about the full understanding of the term death from the Yoruba people's lens, its 100% Abrahamic origination of that word from the Yoruba, and how it has continued to be widely misrepresented in modern day Abrahamic religion system within Africa and beyond. Today, there has been so many guesswork, assumption, and fabrication regarding to what the word actually means, regarding to what goes on to our deceased people immediately after their soul is being separated from their body. And this has now resulted to why we now have dicey, or should I say, different view of afterlife within different religion systems, because they seem not to understand the true origin of it. But realistically, for us to be able to have an ascertained answer or ascertain reality of what they experience after a soul just leave our midst, then we need to go deeper into the true Abrahamic belief tradition, the very origin that predated the writing of the Quran, the Bible, and all the religions attached to it at large. Because I'm talking about that, we are obviously referring to the ancient Yoruba people's tradition or legacy. Because by now it's no more a news that all Abrahamic tradition, the writing, the context narrative, the character and norm were all in reference, or should I say mirroring, what the Yoruba people has as legacy for thousands of years. Whereby, even though most of it has now been plagiarized, or should I say Eurocentrified, in a white-faced legacy beyond Africa or beyond what it initially was, long before the Europeans came into Africa and dabaru everything, manipulated everything to suit their own agenda. According to the common Abrahamic believer today in the whole religion system, it is said that death is actually a journey for a soul to undergo from a fleshy, visible world to an invisible realm we don't seem to know about, and known as Barzakh from the Islamic approach, and generally as the breast of the Lord resting place, as the Christian oftenly said it each time they are laying someone to rest. But before we even go deeper, I need to touch on the both sides, the origin of those beliefs. Islamic tradition, better known as the non-Quranic sources, or should we say the collated writings of the ancient Persian invaders, known as Hadith. In its context, it stated it in detail that the souls shall be resurrected immediately after they depart this world, that means death, and 3 questions shall be asked from them. Number 1 of it will be the very religion they did in their lifetime before death visited them. The other question will be the name of the prophet they choose to follow when alive before death took them. And the third one will be the counting of the mosque practices they did. How many is it before death even visited them? So these are what they believe, that the Almighty will ask a deceased person immediately he or she died, and the ability of that deceased soul to answer it correctively will be a sort of a triumph to that soul. And should in case the soul fail to present an accurate answer to the angels who rose that soul from beside his grave immediately after he or she is being buried, that soul shall be dealt with. In some cases, it is said that one of the angels shall come with a big hammer, which he shall be using to hit the deceased soul on the head, and the deceased soul shall go 10 feet underground and being dragged out again in agony pain. And in the nutshell, any soul who fails to answer those words accurately, his grave shall be made to be a pre-tormenting place prior before the main judgment of heaven will come in the years we don't know. And likewise, in the white souls who tends to answer those questions correctly in the way it aligns or is fitting what the modern Muslims are doing in the line of the Persian, then his graveyard will be made to be they will be given a pre-paradise treatment, whereby his grave will look small from the outside world, but from the inner side of it will actually look like a mansion. So these are what the Muslim traditional people believe generally, and it's un-Quranic. Let me repeat again, it is un-Quranic. It is coming from the Persian. This is what they believe shall happen to a soul after the soul passes away. You can see much of it in Sahih Bukhari, book 23 of Al-Janais. Likewise in another Sahih Bukhari in 1338, and so many and so forth. Let me put this straight for those who are just joining these videos who don't know me. Being who I am not one of those that will look to your eyes and tell you that your religion is lying, or your religion is bad, or should I call you a fraud, or you're a confused human being. I don't do that. Instead, I always rather choose to show people the truth. And whether you agree or you don't agree, I just let you be. In fact, after disagreeing with you, I can still invite you. Let us go and have fun. Let's eat. Because my own understanding of heaven is far beyond religion. I came to realize that religion is just a human thing. You are the one that only choose to burden yourself with unnecessary doctrine. Whereas in reality, your good, righteous way of life is all the Almighty requires from you. Anything you now have to eat, that is your own personal choice of what you choose to do. So, like I have details in my previous video, the one I titled The Judgment. Paradise is actually a state which the human oftenly experience as a conscious thing, and not in any way tied to an afterlife experience, leading to why the word paradise itself is actually a recent word that was derived from the Persian paradisa, meaning the closure or the closed garden. But why will the word even come from the Persian like we have it today? It is only because the Persians are also the establisher, or should I say the founder of the un-Quranic religion system after they invaded Africa, which is better known as the New Caliphate, after the real Quranic teachings or on-religion Quranic teachings of the Black Muhammad faded out, or after Muhammad died 400 years later. So it all makes sense that those who invaded and controlled the modern day Islamic traditions, the whole world, are in their reflection. Likewise in the Bible too, the word paradise doesn't really appear, and when it does, it comes in the Hebrew term, I think is in Pardes, and which also has a root to the Persian origin of the text as well. Maybe we should talk about the hell, another recent introduced word from the Abrahamic religions across, from the term Sheol in Hebrew, which only means a graveyard or an happy or unhappy feelings or a moment. But we know the modern English translator has succeeded and has equally twisted the whole narrative as something like pit of hell, flame of fire, burning coal, wildfire. You know, all these things, as in, they gave it all different names that will get you aroused, that will get you frightening, that you will feel that if you didn't do it. All these are mere politics. In fact, let's further and respectively debunk what the Islamic tradition understood or tell us in regards to Barzakh, where the whole deceased souls are being kept before the day of final judgment. And we shall be using the very Quranic understanding or interpretation of the word Barzakh, because globally today it is no more a news that the whole Muslim believe that the Quran is actually the ultimate source of guide. They believe that it is the very word of the Almighty. So this is why I will be using I could have used another book outside the Quran, but I want you guys to say the truth from the reality of things where it does matter. So how does the word itself describe Barzakh? How does the Almighty describe? According to the Almighty from the Quran itself, which happens to be a statement, Barzakh only means demarcations or barrier or differentiation between two objects or factors. That is what Barzakh means. Barzakh absolutely have nothing to do with any spirit or soul or dying or anything of such. The Almighty only defines, and it is all over the Quran. Just go and make your research. Don't come for me. Is the truth is all there, is staring at you. It is your choice to either follow what the Almighty said from the Quran according to the Almighty himself, and or follow what the Persian is teaching today, which has become a normal lie in the heart of an average Muslim. The Almighty defined the Barzakh as mere barrier. You can see that in Quran 25 verse 53, Quran 55 verse 19 to 20, and so many on. And most likely the one you are familiar with, when the Almighty said he has differentiated, he has separated the fresh water from the salty water, which is Atlantic Ocean. And so you can all see the Almighty is giving you a different meaning to what you understand as Barzakh. And we know that is for sure. As we all know, in the usual religion system politics, the Persian Islamic founders in modern day, after their invasions into North Africa, and so also the Roman invaders as well, what they commonly do is that they always try to pick out a random ancient term or word from the pre-African text, give it a new meaning, and misrepresent it in a way that the African will go far away from what the Almighty is saying. It's more like a devilish thing. A part of them might be ignorant to us, but a part of them was meant to divert you, to mislead you from what the message is teaching. So the Quran is described giving you one meaning, the modern Islamic founders outside Africa are giving you another meaning. As an African, it is now left for you to choose what the Quran is saying and what they are saying. In a nutshell, in general and respectively, heaven and hell are mere experiencing that human can experience, or should I say conditions of a human on earth, and not in any spiritual world or in a physical world or an unseen world. As I say, anyone who think otherwise, you are just playing by the pre-programmed ideology of the colonizers, which they have continuously shown in movie Hollywood for you as a repetition that has now become natural part of the Roman Dioto Tobatin. They've succeeded in giving you a delusional heaven. They succeeded in giving you a delusional hellfire, and they've also succeeded in implanting some unrealistic afterlife ideology into your brain. Aside from that, and nevertheless, souls experiencing after death from the Abrahamic teaching itself, it also has its roots in an ancient Yoruba traditional belief, while much of it has now been incredibly mixed with so many untruthful facts, has been so many mixed with more assumption beyond what it actually means or actually what it was before the printing of Bible and Quran outside Africa. And again, we should not also forget that. So in generality, death is not the end of man's soul. That is for a fact. Death is described as an act of one's soul being relocating from one part of the earth to another part of the same earth. In Yoruba, each time a human or someone dies from our family and we intend to console such person, after that, we always use the term "ó jáde kúrò nínú ayé" or "ó gbéṣẹ̀." That is the abbreviation. "Ó jáde kúrò láyé" means the person walked out of this family, walked out of this world he is familiar with. Our word in an idiomatic expression means, like, if you are enjoying your life or maybe you have money, you can actually say it in an idiom. This is my word. It doesn't mean that you are the only person existing in the entire universe. It's an idiomatic expression. Ó jáde kúrò nínú ayé wa. It means you basically walked out of the world you are presently experiencing and trying to move into another world that is new from you inside the same universe. I don't know, maybe you guys are understanding. This is why the Yoruba people said ó jáde kúrò àbí ó gbéṣẹ̀ kúrò láyé. Ó gbéṣẹ̀ kúrò nínú ayé means, gbéṣẹ̀ means to lift your leg. Gbéṣẹ̀ kúrò nínú ayé, as in gbéṣẹ̀, as in, you understand what it means. That is what how the Yoruba, we don't say you die any eku, because we know in our mind that our soul don't die. It evolves generally. And this also made it why most Abrahamic people did reference to this term of death in funny ways. But people don't pay attention, or people people are using some kind of funny English word to override the initial meaning. Commonly, you will say the term born again. Like it is said in John 3 verse 33, no one can see the kingdom of God unless he die. And the spirit of, let me say it in Yoruba, kò sẹ́ni tó lè rí ìjọba ọ̀run àyàfi tí ó bá ti kú, tó bá ti kú rí, tó tán ṣẹ̀ tó wá tún bí. It's not, this is a direct word. No one see the, let me say it in a better English, which the John verse is basically saying. He said, no one will see the kingdom of heaven unless you have once passed through incarnation, death, and the Almighty has blessed you to have a better reincarnation to your next place you are going into. I don't know, maybe you get it. That is exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. So you see, in Abrahamic people, in Abrahamic books generally, they call it born again. They give it a nickname, born again, or the year after from the beginning, Akira. Year in this world we are living in, the after. That means year, you are in the afterward, same on this year, same on this earth. You are just switching from one family to another. You go back and forth. That is exactly what I mean. And we have the term resurrection, to die and to be reawake. So these are random things that reference to the idea of people coming back to life. And in Yoruba, we sometimes dub our children Babatunde, a man who has gone and reincarnated back to our midst, because truly there are so many powerful people in Yoruba land. I don't know about so many people who are privileged to tell the Almighty, if I die, I still want to come back to Ìpadà. Some as a lover, if I die, I want to come back as your wife again. Or if we meet in another new life, I still want to be your husband. This is a natural thing for some people, and the Almighty will say amen to it. Ashe Magorie. So sometimes I might die, I might love my children. I will tell them I'm coming back to this. And my last born, who was like 9 years old before I died, after growing up, will still give birth to me. So I refuse to leave that family. That is the privilege some people have when it comes to reincarnation. So it's just about coming and going. So let's now talk about some of the aspects that people also took from the same Yoruba people's ancient traditional belief and coin it into something you don't much recognize. First of all, Judgment Day means the day an individual will die. It does not mean the day the whole earth will collapse and the Almighty will place us on a secondary school lining up as if we are receiving some sermon, stuff like that, as the way they said it. No, your own judgment day only start to happen the very moment you die. That is when you, so it's not applicable to everybody. That is first thing you need to understand. Another thing we also need to understand is that each time they reference to the blowing of trumpets, like it's common that they said there's an angel will come out, will blow the trumpet, and souls will resonate. It is another Yoruba word when our people die or are about to die. What they does experiences. Truly, a spirit might be blowing trumpet, because in the Yoruba belief, there is what we call, this is how we say it in Yoruba, Alagogo ọ̀run tí ń dún, Alagogo ọ̀run, ẹlẹ́kọ̀ ọ̀run tí ń polówó. If you are not a Yoruba person, ago means a bell or any sound making thing from an object through an iron. In ancient time, it is called ago in bell. If our forefathers are still to be alive, it will not be a bell anymore, it will be trumpet, because that is what you blow and it makes sound. But in the ancient time, it is called ago. And ọ̀run means heaven in a general term, or anything relating to heaven body or activities. Polówó means making the call, trying to alert you that it is time. So when the Yoruba say Alagogo ọ̀run tí ń polówó, in Abrahamic text, they are basically saying the angel is blowing, and the custodian in the heaven is blowing a trumpet for you to get ready, that you should get ready to switch your movement from this earth to another earth. That is where the whole concept of blowing trumpet is coming from. They are still identifying with the ancient Yoruba people way of telling someone that an angel is calling you. The sound, because when you are at the point of death, the sound of the entire universe will cease, will stop to, you won't hear anything. Your attention will be to the spirit, to the spiritual world you don't see. Then you'll be listening to something the real human of this earth are no more hearing. That is exactly what it is. The angels in charge of your soul is already blowing the trumpet, is already making the sound, and only you will hear it. Anyone who hears the sound, that means his time on earth is done. So they took all those concepts, give it a more fantasizing picture in Hollywood, make it look as if it's a big deal. It is common thing that Yoruba people understood as a process you shall go, or you shall take at the point of your death. And this further justify why there is no Abrahamic book that says otherwise. There is no Abrahamic book that now starts to tell us that no, is anyone who have a verse in the Quran or in the Bible that tell us that the Almighty will assemble us to a ground and the trumpet will blow, or every one of us will start flying like some kind of hawk bird in the sky, that wind is skying up and down. They should come and show us. The whole things are coming from the Nollywood misrepresentation to delude you people, to make you Iromando thought, to make lie a common truth after a very long time. And regarding to what shall be asked in our grave or what, to be candid, only the Almighty know how the whole thing will go. Nobody, I keep saying it, nobody, no one has ever been to death and come back, unless you just have a glimpse. But you will tell us, you will describe it. Even if the Almighty give you a revelation, it will even come in an idiom. It will come in such a way that the Almighty will still need you to use your common brain, common sense to no one has a direct vision or understanding of what goes on after death, let alone when we sleep. So this is what I can tell about it. But the part of it that I know is very certain is that the only thing the Almighty will require of you has to do with your righteous deed. So when the Muslims said they will ask you for your salat in their own understanding of afterlife question, yes, the Almighty may ask, but let's ask ourselves, what does salat mean? According to the same Almighty himself in Suratul Marij in his own Quran, which all Muslims agree to be the word of Almighty, the Almighty describes salat as iwarere, righteous attitude, by character, not by banging your head on the floor. Iwarere lasan. If you are talking about prayer in the Abrahamic, people don't seem to understand that there are differences between duha and salat. It's not even salat, it's salah. S-A-L-L-A. Salah. People need to start going into details, and the Almighty describe what he understands, what he's telling us. So even though the Almighty said in the Quran that salat is compulsory, he's only identifying with your good character. It's like saying you are really done you must have a good character. Is by force. He's never saying you should be bagging your head towards Saudi Arabia, taking your money to go and fund their own GDP while Africans are suffering. He's never saying you should, as in, he's so clear. People just choose to ignore everything the Quran is giving us meaning, follow the passion based on politics, and this is what throws us parallel. So for this reason, I don't even fault most of this book. I fault our people's way of approaching truth. They are so carried away. Here is my father say, here is my pastor say, here is my what is your own opinion? So this is my own conclusion. Religions are man-made imposing institution. Your good character way of life is your only required ticket to a better journey to the next world. And what you need to do, and what you do in evil to people, like slapping an innocent person, the exact slap, the measurement of that slap, the volume of that slap shall also be done to you in your next life. as an heaven's way of balancing your judgment in the exact experience. So if I decide to shoot you in a gun, the Almighty one way or the other will create another sin in my left life. The pain that I gave to someone which I should, I will also experience in it. So each time the Almighty is saying that, he's not saying you start scaling something like a grain of corn in one cup to another thing. The Almighty is saying what that person experienced, the evil, you will also experience it in the same manner. So if you want to have a better life, start doing good to people so that good will follow you. Lay your bed very well so that you have a soft landing on it. This is why if you also do bad, always experience that what you do to people, they will do it to you in the exact way. So at the end of the day, the Almighty is not to be blamed for anything, and that is what they call judgment. Maybe the earth will eventually end one day. That is for Almighty to tell. But presently today, we are just evolving. But that doesn't mean we don't have final destination where we shall all go back to the very rim we initially came up, which is Odaomo, our heaven abode finally. But presently, judgment is on earth. Repercussion is on earth. Good reward is on earth. We have to go back to heaven in a clean slate. That is what the whole judgmenting and so afterlife means. I will see you in my next video. Please like button, press the notification bell in case I upload new ones. And take care everyone. Bye for now.